Howdy, hi, and hello. Welcome to Noah's Nest, where I will make you sit down, have a nice drink, relax, even if it's at 1:20 in the morning. I'm going to help you learn about different RPGs or just make some characters along the way. So, I'm Noah. I'm not tired. I'm really not. I don't know. I decided to record this and I'm not tired at all. So, let's see how it goes. So today, I'm going to teach you how to play Simply6. We have played this throughout the whole entire podcast before, along with a couple other RPGs that I will teach you in the future. But, it's called Simply6. It's by Russ Morsley. You can get this as a PDF on DriveThruRPG, Ian Publishing. But if you want to try and get a physical copy, go to Amazon. It's out of stock right now. But who knows? Maybe they'll replenish themselves. DriveThruRPG and Ian Publishing are only PDF. You can probably get a PDF for free online as well. This is a very easy and simple system. This system is pretty much to create anything. You can create modern racing game, a futuristic space-themed, medieval magical-based storyline. I'll just read the back real quick. Simply6 is a fast, light, tabletop role-playing game by Russ Morsley for 2 or more players, which you can use by just using 6-sided dice. Yes, you don't need to use a 20, an 8, a D100, whatever. It's all in D6s. And it just simplifies everything. Simply6 is a multi-genre game. You can play it in fantasy settings, scientific settings, or contemporary settings. You can play it in the Wild West, a cyberpunk dystopia, or even so much more. It's all based around you. If you want to play a super hard, gritty story, that's your imagination, that's how you want to do it. It's very flexible, very, very easy rules. You'll find in this book, in the PDF as well, you will find sections about how the rules work, the core rules, how to create a character, how to deal with magic and combat, and then a bunch of different monsters that give you just an idea of what you can make. I love this saying. It's simple, it's small, it's simple, it's Simply6. So like I said before, it's all by D6s. You don't need any other dice. It is just have maybe 2 sets of 4 D6s. You don't need a lot. You can really only need 1 and just roll multiple times. So the DM in this game, in this ttrpg, is called a judge. And the good thing about it is that the judge does not have to roll at all. It is all based on everyone else. In the book, you get to roll 3d6. That's pretty much it. If you roll a 10 or more, you succeed. If you roll 9 or less, you fail what you're trying to do, which is easy and completely alright, I don't get that 10, I don't make it. It's difficult, but it's not super difficult. But as you play the game, as you level up, you are able to get more dice, which it makes it easier. Depending on your story, it makes sense that certain skills might be a bit harder, so you would just have to take away a d6. Like, let's say you do a cyberpunk story where you have to drive through like a blizzard or heavy rain. Just make them roll 1d6 less. It's going pretty hard. It's not the best kind of weather or terrain, make it a little bit harder on them. It's still possible, but it's a little bit harder. But you could also give them pluses, like if there's an enemy lower than them and one of your players wants to shoot an arrow at one of the enemies, well, they have the high ground, give them an extra d6. Easy. Just make sure that they beat a 10. Roll out the dice, add them together. It's a 10 or more? Perfect. If it's not, well, didn't make it. Core rules are done. That's it. That's all you really need to worry about. How to make a character, just depending on the type of story you are, make whatever you want. You get to choose 2 skills. I will get to skills in a little bit, but when you start out as level 1, you get 3d6. But you have to divide that 3d6 to your skills. Yes, you might only have one skill that you just want to put all 3d6s on, but usually you want to try and go with 2 at the moment. You will always roll 3d6, but let's say you put an additional 2d6 in your fighting because you're really good at it. Well, now you get to roll 5. You get to roll 5d6. Wow, that's so much easier than just rolling 3 or maybe even 2. You can't, sadly, for your first level, you can't put all your 3d6s, like your extra 3d6s, into one skill. You have to kind of disperse it a little bit. As you level up, you'll get more d6s. So we start at level 1, you have 3d6s to disperse. You're at level 2 now. You get to make another choice where you can put an additional d6 to one of your other skills. You can keep increasing fighting, or you can increase one another. Leveling up and health are very easy as well, where health is just pretty much your level. Are you a level 2? You have 2 health. Are you a level 4? You have 4 health. Are you level 1? Well, sadly you only have 1. Every time after you fully rest, all your health will come back. Most damages in this game, if you get hit, it's just 1 damage. It's not like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. It's like, hey, let's roll 3d8 and see what happens. No, it's just if you get hit, you just take 1 damage. Because it makes sense. It kind of makes sense where as you level up, you get stronger, but you don't want to be entirely detrimental. So the character sheets will just be on a small blank page where you get to put your name, your level. You can choose 2 skills at the time being. It was when you start, and you can get more as time goes on. Then you have weaknesses. You usually only have 2 weaknesses, and then abilities, also with your small little health marker. Weaknesses are what you're not good at. Everything else is kind of just neutral. There's your skills that you're really good at, your neutral stuff that is just normal. You just roll 3d6. And then your weaknesses, which is sadly you don't get any bonuses for them, and you don't get to roll 3d6. You get to roll 2. That's the bad part. You're not really good at them. Makes sense. Simple. Simply 6. So, with the skills, you get to choose 2 of them, but I will go through all of it and help you understand each of them. All of these skills are very broad, so you don't have to be so pinpoint, I want to be perfect at crafting bats from tree bark. No, it's very broad. So first one is athletics. That could be how strong you are you able to swim, run, how physically active are you. Crafting, that can be art, building, carpentry, smithing, making sure everyone's equipment is well done. Defense, how to avoid attacks, how strong you are you able to block stuff. it's pretty much how you're able to defend against fighting or people trying to shoot at you. Engineering, easy. Fixes things, maybe craft explosives, throw them out, pretty funny. Fighting, any form of combat other than shooting, but like melee stuff, fists, perfect for it. You may like martial arts or whatever. Fortitude is next. That's like your actual toughness, your endurance, physical health. Are you able to like withstand like diseases or like massive punches to the gut and head and dick? Next one is gaming. That's for gambling. Maybe there's a certain like what is it? Cyberpunk. You'd be like in a cyberpunk world and you have to load into a game and see how it goes. Well, this is perfect for you. Intimidation is kind of self-explanatory. You're trying to scare people off. You don't want to deal with trying to persuade them. You're like, fuck off, I'm gonna punch you in your head and make you shit out your face. Whatever. Next one is knowledge. How smart are you? How much stuff can you remember from like science or history or just all around knowledge? Next is medicine. Diagnose disease, treat health, treat wound, fix a broken arm, whatever. Pretty much helps you whenever you absolutely need it. Perception, seeing things, eyesight. You can spot things hidden away pretty easily. Next is performing, singing, dancing, being an all-around jokester, being fun. Maybe like all charisma-based stuff, like, hey, look at me, I'm funny, ha ha ha. Next is persuasion. That's your charisma stuff. Trying to bluff, maybe like charm some of your enemies, or maybe even your allies if you really want to. Maybe even negotiating like how to split some money-wise. Next is resolve, which is your willpower, your courage. How well are you able to just get this through? Like if there's some creepy shit ahead of you or someone that's extremely buff and has intimidated you, you could use resolve to like bypass their intimidation or bypass persuasion as well. Next is shooting, any form of ranged weapons. It says in here, long from bows to even ray guns. Exactly, like you can choose anything depending on what the judge wants to play. Next is survival. If you're able to hunt well, track things, try and deal with animals around, pretty much any survival-based stuff is perfect to roll with. Next is thievery, like stealth, lockpicking, stealing shit from your allies or foes, but people with pretty good perception could possibly see. Next is vehicles, how you're able to drive cars to planes to boats, submarines even. Next is wealth. How wealthy are you? How much income? Are you able to spend money? Are you able to use like your money to get you to buy stuff? Like, hey, I'll pay off this bouncer to get inside. There's also two other skills that also depend on the certain type of story you want to do. First one is computers. That's like programming, research, hacking, technology-based stuff. Next one is magic, supernatural, spells, abracadabra, all that funky jazz. As you level up, you can choose to take that D6. You can take that extra D6, or you can take an ability. Now this is fun. You can create your own, but they give you a couple ideas of what it would be. I'll just give off a couple. The first one is like antidote. You have to have a medicine with 46, where you can remove poisons as long as the creature is still alive. Or maybe you can go with engineering. You have to have 4 d6s. It's Fixer. You can restore a broken item. If you break it a second time, it is permanently broken. Or let's go with Smash. You have to have athletics. You have 4 d6s in athletics. You do 2 damage with a successful attack. And there's many more that you can choose from and make your own. Just make sure you talk to your judge. Combat and attacking. Pretty much roll the dice. If you get more than 10, it'll work. But you can only make one action. You can only move, you can only attack, you can only use a magic item or do something else in a turn. You can't move, shoot a gun, and like do a somersault off the cliff. You can only do one of those at a time. Whenever you're attacking or aiming, if you hit the foe with a fight, like your fighting skill or your shooting skill, and it beats their defensive check, they will lose 1 health. If you ever hit 0 health, you will fall unconscious. But if you ever knock a creature down to 0 and not say that you want to spare them, they will be slain. They will be like full on killed. If you spend a round aiming or focusing or like charging up with like your melee magic or shooting, you get to add an additional d6 for your next round. So you're fighting this guy, you decide, I'm going to take this next hit, possibly charge up or like be in a good form. You get that extra d6 to try and get that 10. If you have a attack that has like a range, like let's say you have a whip as a weapon, and let's say you have 6d6 for your shooting or melee weapon. There's 2 enemies in front of you. You can pretty much split your dice to deal damage. You might want to spend 4 dice on the bigger guy, and then 2 more dice on the smaller guy, because the bigger guy could take more power to take down, because depending on how higher you roll, it is possible for you to deal more damage. Actions go in a certain order. Well, pretty much. People go in specific orders. So, through actions, it goes in this order. Missiles will go first because they're the fastest. They're going as fast as they can. No one can really stop a missile. Next will be melee attacks. So, as the missile's flying off, you're able to get a punch off. After all melee attacks are done, spells are able to go off. So if you were casting a spell, wait till someone punches someone in the face, and then you're able to cast your spell. 4th is other actions, like maybe you had to grab something and chuck it, or do a quick game of hopscotch. That's your turn. And then lastly, if you just want to move, that would sadly be your turn. You would be last. Next is magic. Now this is like the cool part of magic. It's not a specific spell. It's like a type of element that you can focus on. So let's say you focus on a fire, like elemental magic. You can do any form of magic that deals with fire. You can make a weapon turn into a fire weapon, like maybe you imbue a sword with magic and turn it into a flaming sword. Pretty much, your imagination is your wall. Go as broad as possible. You could get really far with it. With your magic skill, if you ever focus in on it, you start with 0 d6 instead of 3. You can't put any dice in it if you want that skill, but you have to put dice in it. You have to invest dice in it to use magic. Here's the sad thing about magic. If you ever roll 6s on your dice, let's say you put in 4d6s and you happen to roll 2 of them, well, sadly, your magic skill goes down to 2d6 because you're using so much magic, it'll take a toll. But the good thing is, whenever you take a long rest or whenever you relax until dawn, it'll replenish. So it'll come back as you put more stuff into it. Same thing with attacking. If you hit, you'll deal 1 hit point of damage unless you have like the smash ability or something else of the sort that gives you an additional point of damage. You can use magic to heal yourself. You can use it in place of your defense. It's very broad. Just use your imagination. Next section is monsters. It's very broad. It's easy to kind of understand. There are some abilities. Each monster or creature has some skills, some stuff that they're weak at, and then like maybe an ability that they have. I'll give you 1 or 2 examples, but judges / DMs / GMs, you can create your own if you want to. Let's go with a bear in this one. So it's athletics, it's fighting, and fortitude gain an additional d6. So each of them have 4 d6s that they can roll whenever they would do a fighting or athletics or fortitude one. Its ability, it's a beast, so it can't use any skills like art, crafting, engineering, gaming, knowledge, medicine, trivia, or vehicles. Self-explanatory. Bears can't just get into a car and then drive off. Next one can be, let's do a carnivorous plant. Its fighting has a d6, but its defense has 3d6. So fighting is 4d6, and its defense is 6d6 whenever you would attack it. Its ability is Vine. The plant can attack people at range with a melee attack using its long vines. If the target is hit by the vine, that person is grabbed. They cannot move until it frees itself with an athletics check. It also has many vines. Due to many tendrils, the carnivorous plant has an extra action each turn. It cannot move more than once. And lastly, it's flammable. Plants take double damage for fire. So it's very broad. It gives you so many ideas. And it just helps you kind of have an idea of, doesn't make sense having this skill, doesn't make sense having this skill. And like, is it an animal? It can't do some shit. Let's finish. Yes, equipment and special items, same thing. If your judge or DM wants you to have certain items, talk to them. They'll have like a broader idea of, yeah, that makes sense, or no, this item or this type of heirloom doesn't really make sense in the story. And that's it. That's Simply6. That is one of the easiest games that me and all of our other friends on the podcast have ever played. D6 is simple shit. We've used it in home games. We've used it in podcast actual play episodes. So that's all I got. Thank you all for listening. I really do appreciate it for keeping me awake because I'm still not tired. Anyway, that was Simply6. If you want to check it out, check out Amazon, EN Publishing, or Drive-Thru RPG. It is really fun. It is really easy. if you want to get out of playing like Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, or anything else, check it out. Simply6. It's small, it's simple, it's Simply6. Well, thank you all for listening. I appreciate it. Come check us out. Like, share, comment. Everything helps us. I really do appreciate it. And if you want me or anyone else to do any how to learn ttrpgs, let us know. Tell us in the comments. Share to your friends. Word of mouth really helps us. But that being said, thank you all. See you, love you, miss you, bye.